Hey there, all you happy beekeepers. It's March 6, 2025, and it's time to light up your smoker and do our first hive inspection of the year. Well, the bees seem pretty happy today. They're bringing in lots of pollen and building up nice. And this is one of my Layens hives, and it's a modified one. It's the Jean Herpin modification. That's got 11 brood frames in the middle, and it's got half Layens frames on the ends. And those are the frames that the bees will store honey on. So let's see if we find any honey. We might not. It just depends on how much they consume during wintertime. You can see all the bees flying around the front of the hive. They're very active today. The temperature's right around 72 Fahrenheit. Well, the first frame up feels pretty light. It's drawn comb, and that's what a half of a Layens frame looks like. Bees are running around on it. But it's light as a feather. It's just wax only. Everything's empty. They ate all the honey off of this one. Here's another one. Take a close look at it. You can see that there's still some honey left on this one. Not enough for me to harvest, so I'm just going to give it back to the bees. Here's another one, almost the same as the one before. You can see there's some capped honey in the middle and a little bit on the left-hand side. Still not enough for me to harvest. It's probably about 80% empty and 20% honey, which is good news for the bees. They're not starving. Looks almost the same again. A little bit of honey left on this one. Not really enough to harvest at this point. I might as well just let the bees finish it to do their spring buildup and let them go to town when it's really nice weather in April and May. They'll fill these right up with honey. Here's a comb from the other side of the hive. This one's completely empty. Just a few bees patrolling to make sure that nobody's there that shouldn't be there, like hive beetles. They still seem to find their way in. But that's what an empty piece of comb looks like. And the bees just crawl around to make sure that it stays clear of anyone that doesn't belong in the hive. So we'll just put that one right back. So we'll just close this one up, I think. I've gone through as much as I need to see, and based on the amount of activity and pollen coming in, I know they're rearing brood, so I'm not even going to pull frames out of the brood chamber. We'll just put everything back and let them go to work and go to one of my favorite spots on the property right here. I see a drone bee. That means swarm season is almost upon us. This is one of my hives where I've kept some notes. And in case anyone's wondering, these are called cover boards that I'm removing. I have 3/8 gaps in between each one of my Layens frames. So in order to keep the heat from escaping, I use a 3/4 inch board on top of those. And boy, were those frames glued in. As you can see here, I had to pry for quite a while in order to get the first frame come loose. Because I don't open my hives very often, these frames really get glued in with propolis by the bees. So I'm working from the end that the entrance is closed off on. So it's the opposite end where the bees are generally coming in and out. And that's going to be the area with least amount of bee activity. And boy, you can see I'm putting some effort into this here. I almost need a crowbar to get that first frame loose. So just go with the easiest one you can get at. Break that propolis apart from each one of those frames. And once you get it, it'll slide out of there. But the longer those frames are in there like that, the bees just keep on gluing them together. And it gets pretty strong. So I finally found the one that was the easiest to get at. It was close to the end. And they just started to work this one end of last year. Just an old, this is on the end frame. This is a 20 framer. And they didn't even go all the way. I think it's 21 frames. So this is frame number 20. There's one more, number 21, and it's totally empty. So that means they've got the comb to store honey in. Let's see if they've got any extra for us. We may. That's empty. Another empty one. So they're not starving because they've got enough honey on their brood frames, but they don't have any extra honey so far. Let's check the. There's a little bit of honey right there. Look at that. That's a tiny bit of honey. They're eating the last of this. So this was surplus honey. There goes a hive beetle. See, I still get them even with those traps. Just a tiny bit of honey right here. And they're finishing it up now. Nothing on this side. Tiny bit of honey right here, just in the middle. This is wonky comb. You can break it off if you want, or you can push it. Looks like it's cracked here. It might have broke when it got real cold. Not 100% sure, but they're just eating the last of this little bit of honey. They'll fix this. They might continue here, but they'll fix that. Now I can scrape off the propolis off the sides. I want to. Look at that. Nice big piece of propolis there. So that's good for you. Now this looks like old brood comb. So they've made brood all the way down this far. So we're down in the high teens, maybe frame 16 by now. Again, there's a little bit of honey right there. There's no eggs in here. A little bit of honey right there. There's a queen cell, queen cup. Now what I do like about this comb, for the most part, it's nice and straight. I can see there's my bamboo skewer right there, going right through. Now if you want to, you see this bulge? See this bulge here? You can trim that with your knife if you want to. So, just do that. Trim that down a little. More honey. This one's got more, not much. A little bit of honey here. There's no brood in any of these. But look at this. You can see when they rear queens, they've got some old cups hanging here. You can break them off if you want to. They'll make new ones. A couple of hive beetles, which I don't like. Finding a way in. Nothing worth harvesting, really. Well, that's okay. We can just still clean off the extra propolis that everything's made sticky with. Scrape the sides a little. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll get a frame of honey. Maybe we won't. It's even got a little extra on the bottom. See that a little bit? And they drew. Well, they got honey in here. Again, no brood. They got crazy comb at the bottom. I don't mind it. It's not bothering anything. I'm going to leave it on there. And they're eating it. Nah, that's fine. Let them have it. In you go. In you go. A lot of pollen here. If you can see pollen in there. So that means the next frame probably has brood on it. So we're getting close. Ow! Getting close to the brood area. There's a drone bee. There's one of our first drones. So you know what that means. It's almost time to swarm. That's the only reason for them. So they can mate with the virgin queens. There we go. Well, we haven't quite made it to the baby chamber yet. But again, we got lots and lots of pollen. This frame's got some weight to it. It's heavy. And you can see the pollen up in here. So we're close to the brood nest. So it looks like they've got themselves plenty to work with. They're going to build up nice. So there's our queen right there. So we got a good colony here. It's doing well. They just didn't give me extra honey yet. So let's just put her back nice and easy. Gently, gently. I don't need to go any further. I know the colony is healthy. I'm just going to push all those frames back together. They're very sticky because this hive, this colony has been here since, I believe the notes say 21. So this has been here 4 years. So we'll just push them back together. Got a little more burr comb I can cut. I can trim that down just a tiny bit. It's not bad. This is quite easy colony to work with. There. Keep that nice and trimmed up. Look good. Except they didn't have extra honey for me. So considering the time of year this is, sometimes you will get extra honey. And I like to harvest my honey in the early spring right before the nectar flow, because it's just so much easier to work. There's less bees, there's no robbing, and it's just a easier, stress-free time to work your bees if they have extra honey. Now keep in mind, I don't feed my bees anything. I don't sugar feed them at all at any point during the year. So this really shows me that the colony is doing well, and I'll be able to come back if I want honey. I can easily come back around mid-May, and that'll be a perfect time, and I'll have lots more honey that I can harvest from them. So today's overall inspection through all the colonies was pretty much like what you just saw in these two that we did, but we were able to manage to get a couple of frames of honey from some of the hives. And in the next video, I'm going to show you how to do a simple crush and strain honey extraction.